Right, there we go. Hello, people. Two people just joining, two people who have been waiting, and everyone watching things back on the VOD, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this. Hello, welcome to another stream, and it's Game Dev Sunday once again. So, hello, welcome back. For people who are possibly new, who have not been like here for long, basically every week, I just take a bit of holy schlump. It's the Holy. But yeah, every week I take a bit of time to work on my personal project that I've been actually. I think it's almost roughly a year since I started doing work on this project on stream, which is um kind of crazy actually. It's round about this time last year. Um, and of course, within a year, not too much progress has been made, though that's because for the most part, because my attention is like very split during the week and whatnot, and Sunday being the only guaranteed day where I just, you know, focus on doing game dev stuff for like a few hours a day. For the time being, until I can figure out like a better kind of schedule for that kind of stuff. Um, Progress is kind of slow, but yeah, basically I do this thing every week, and sometimes we make big progress, sometimes we make little bits, and sometimes we spend time just trying to figure out what the hell's going wrong because things started breaking with the project, and we don't know what's going on until I look further into it. Um, but them's the breaks. That's some of what happens, and then sometimes like. Up until recently, I was just focusing on making stuff in Blender um, and polishing up some things that I'd made like almost a year ago and actually sorting them out, like the character model for the player. Which and Unreal crashed. Oh wait, no, I remember now. I remember now. I remember the problem now. I can't load that level TP player state right. Send and restart. We're gonna restart. We're gonna restart the engine. I remember that I can't load into that level normally. I need to sort a thing out with the player state so I can actually use this level again. So, I'll sort that out at some point. I'll just go into the main menu instead because it'll be easier to go through the main menu into the level itself or the test level itself. Um, like the character model here, and then in the test level, I can't, or the other like the third person environment, I can't actually like look at the objects I've put in there anymore. So if I just go to the models for the collectibles, each of them have their own like little models, like the apple, which is fruit based because I accidentally saved over the base blender file that I was using to make all of them, like the orange, and so on and so forth. And what I'm essentially making in terms of my project, for people who don't know, is a 3D sort of like collectathon platformer inspired by the likes of like the PS1 era and the Spyro games, like the classic Spyro games and whatnot. And I'm very much trying to emulate that style in terms of how the character models look and it looked and everything, and potentially including some of the limitations as well by trying to emulate the like the vertex wobbling that you would have had in games of that era. Also, I should probably by now I normally put on Spyro music to sort of like set the mood for streams, so I'll just throw on that. But yeah, so up until recently I'd been doing that, and then last week I started work on the save system. And I say I started work on it, that's kind of a lie because I already did a little implementation of saving and loading, though it wasn't in a way that could be used across the entire project if need be. And the thing is that wait. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, no. Now I remember. My brain lost track of my thoughts for a second there. But yeah, essentially, key point, I needed an entire subsystem that I had to make for saving and loading data, and we got a fair ways into that during last stream. I'm gonna go into the window for like the code and stuff. I need to open up Rider because I haven't done any of that yet. Um, Prep was a little bit last minute. I was playing Monster Hunter for most of the evening. still going through Wilder's story and whatnot. I haven't gotten through all of it on the notion that I've had work. I've been busy with work yesterday and today, and then like doing other stuff, and then playing like games with friends and all that jazz. So yeah, right. So in terms of like the whole save subsystem, subsystems are a thing in Unreal. They exist. If you make a custom subsystem, it depends on what subsystem that you base it off of. In this case, the save subsystem is based off of the game instance subsystem. And what that essentially means is that when the game instance is created, so when you start running the game and the game instance is created, this subsystem will automatically exist on that game instance. And whatever you need to do with it, such as like creating a new save file, loading a save game, just saving the game, passing the data to save the game and everything, this is always available. There's no need to like create another like copy of it or an instance of it or anything. This just exists at all times, which is very useful for what we need to use it for, because we need to be able to like store whatever slot that we're saving data to, like the name and so on, in something that just remains present for the entire time. Otherwise, we can't really just grab the name of the save slot that we're using out of thin air. So that's like the reason why we're using it, and like a small little summary of some of what it can do. I wouldn't want to explain too much about it unless people wanted me to go into it, because I know I did plenty of that last week. And of course, the VOD's still up on the Twitch. I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet because, I'm going to be honest, I kind of let things get behind a little bit again, and I need to sort out... I need to sort out the VOD for, like, part 1 of me playing Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I need to sort that out, because there was like that one bit of like stream where there was a connection problem for some reason. I've been having that happen every so often recently, and I don't know why. I've never had this problem since I moved into this room, and it's just happening all of a sudden now, and I'm just kind of concerned. But I need to stitch those two parts of the VOD together, and then I can upload it to YouTube, to the VOD archive. Speaking of, I will, for people who don't know about the VODs channel, on the VODs channel YouTube, if there's any, like, streams or series that you've missed that, I say that are definitely no longer available on the Twitch, because there's a lot of them. There's a few playthroughs there now, and, considering the fact that tomorrow we'll be starting a new one, you know, good time to catch up on the Kingdom Hearts 1 and the Kingdom Hearts 2 level 1 playthrough, considering the fact that I am starting Birth by Sleep level 1 tomorrow. That's going to be a fun time. If you want to see what happened in my previous level 1 playthroughs, all the highs and the lows and all the problems that happened in between, they're right there. They're right there on the VODs channel, and I'm not saying you have to. I am just giving you a little bit of an encouragement to go see it, because there's some other stuff on there too from my previous streams. I'd say the earliest, like, playthrough, quote-unquote, I guess you could call it, that was my very rushed playthrough of Yakuza 4. And that was only because, at the time, I thought, oh god, they're removing it from Xbox Game Pass. And I rushed through it to complete it, and I did within, like, 3 or 4 streams, which is kind of crazy. But that was 3 years ago. That was way back when. Now I have to think, if I was to play 4 again on stream, if I did that, I definitely want to try and actually, you know, savor more of the game, rather than just, you know, speed through everything just for the sake of, oh, I played through the game story, and I beat the game story, and we're done. So, yeah, but, that aside, I need to grab my water from my bag, because I haven't taken it out of there since it was at work. and some other bits too, so need to get that, then I'll be probably set for doing the coding and bits. Right, sorted. Cool. Yes. So in terms of the save system, we got most of the save system done. And we replaced bits of what we were using in the main menu, because in the main menu, originally we just had, like, just the general thing that was like, oh, create the save slot if, like, you know, this doesn't exist, or if this does exist, then if we're starting a new game, ask if the player does want to overwrite their save slot, and if they select yes, then do that. But it didn't actually, you know, properly save things. So we built the subsystem to allow that to happen. If we go into the blueprints folder, go into the widgets, and I believe it's in save slot button, because that's when you're actually clicking onto the thing. Okay, right. So on pressed in the slot button, also, sorry, I am having 1 or 2 jelly babies to give me a little bit of a kick for the stream. I do need the sugar. Can't go wrong with a few of those, as long as it's not too many. But yes, when we click the slot button, we do one of 2 things depending on whether or not we're loading a save. So that's determined by this boolean right here. If this is true, if we are loading, then we essentially get slot name text, which is like the text for the actual slot on the button. We pass that into load save game, which is in the subsystem. Then if we go back into the code in the subsystem, there is the load save game method here. And basically what this does, I know I said I'm not so sure if I will explain this for people, but I may as well while I'm explaining, you know, what we did last time. So load save game, I don't need this debug here anymore because we know that this works, so I'm going to get rid of this. First, we have a variable in this subsystem which is called the recently accessed save. This is important as this is basically the thing that lets us, like, oh, if we've, like, loaded in or started a new game or whatnot, then we can grab, like, the slot name from this thing and then say, oh, we're just saving to this slot name, and then we can actually properly save, and without having to try and come up with some bullshit way of trying to grab the slot name out of thin air. But we have a slot name passed in here. We cast the slot that we get from this method, load game from slot with the slot name, to the type that we're using, because there are specific, like, variables and data that we need to grab from it eventually. If this does exist, then we say that save game load completed is true, and we broadcast this to whatever thing has essentially subscribed to this delegate. Otherwise, we just say yeah, this failed. And then once that, like, happens, since we know recently accessed save will have, like... Actually, there is something that I do need to do with this. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, no. I already checked whether or not it's valid. Right. So that's good. So we get recently accessed save. We check whether or not this is like a null pointer or not. So we check whether or not it's valid. If it's not valid, we'll say that this save doesn't exist. There's no recently accessed save or anything. And we don't do anything else. Otherwise, If it is valid, we simply just take the last saved level that's in the recently accessed save, and then we just open the level. We just do that. And then anything else that happens, like anything that needs to be loaded in, at the moment, just happens like that. And then in the case of the actual save slot menu, oh yeah, there we go. Like, everything's up here, and then this stuff is all the way down here for some reason, and it's kind of a bit annoying to track. So when the save slot menu loads, we initialize this. When we load the save slot menu, we check whether or not like the game is being loaded, and that's like whether or not we're going through like the new game button or the load game button. And then we check whether or not this is true or false. And if it's true, then we initialize each of the 3 save slots, and whether or not the buttons actually become active depend on whether or not save data exists within a given slot. So if slot 1 has like data called slot 1, then that button will be loaded. If slot 2 has data called slot 2, then we load that one, and so on and so forth. And then at the same time, we bind an event to, like, regardless of whether or not this happens, if we're loading or not, we bind an event to on slot button clicked. And this has another little event. I don't need this print string anymore because we know that this definitely works, so I need to make sure I also keep this plugged in. We get the slot name from the button that's clicked. We set selected slot name to whatever we pass in through here. Does save game exist? We check whether or not this slot has like save data, or this save game exists with the slot. And then if it does exist, we show off that warning thing, or a warning panel from the save slot menu, which basically says, oh, data already exists in the slot, do you want to override it? This is if you're like starting a new game. Otherwise, if not, then we basically just create new save data through the subsystem, and then we just open the first level. That's basically what we do here. I know that was a lot for me to get through, but that's kind of covering like the general gist of the save slot menu and the save system. However, in terms of actually saving the data, so at the moment, if I was to press 2, I'm pretty sure 2 still, like, 1 pauses. I'm pretty sure I got rid of the like the log for actually saying, oh, we're actually saving the game. But when I'm pressing 2, stuff is being saved. However, at the moment, if I go into Rider and I go into the player controller, so temp save essentially is essentially just my little test for making sure that the save system was working. We check the subsystem, whether or not it exists. It will exist, but this is just to make sure it does exist. Then we get the slot name from the recently accessed save, and then pass it into the subsystem save game method. And then, at the moment, we're not able to pass in anything important into it. So, for example, in the player state, we have these T-maps. And for people who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, T-maps in Unreal are basically dictionaries in other programming languages. And what those basically are, it's like a set of data where you have a key value pair. So each entry within the dictionary has a key, which is normally like an ID of some kind, and then a value, which can like be a string, an integer, a boolean, or something along those lines. And oh, sorry. And basically, for our collectibles, at the very least, what we do is that we store whatever collectibles we find, like for the secondary collectibles, which is the fruit, and the main collectible, which is the cheese, in, like, we store their ID and their actual object within the maps themselves. And then in the original, like, saving method that we have in the player controller, so save the game, we essentially take the cheese map and the fruit map stored in the player state, and we throw it into the respective T-map variables on the game save variable. And what game save is essentially a variable of game save data, and that's the custom type that we have, which is derived from Unreal's built-in save game class, which is essentially it's essentially a thing that you can use to just save game data. That's basically what it is. To make the quick of it, that's basically a thing that we use to save data. And then the reason why we have a custom version of it that inherits from it is so we can store, like, our specific things, like the collectibles the player has collected, the last level that we saved in, the slot name, which is important, and all that jazz. But in the original one, like the original save method, we just throw the cheese map and the fruit map into the game save data's, like, variables for it from the player state, and do other stuff like saving the last save level, and then we just save the game to the slot, and that's how we would have saved the data before. However, at that point, we were only able to test it with, like, a singular slot name, unlike what we're able to do now with using the save subsystem. However, the problem is that in the subsystem, as far as I'm aware, unless I actually specifically search out objects for this, there is no conceivable way for the subsystem to actually know whether or not, say, a player of a specific class exists, or, like, oh, the player state is storing these values in, like, these T-maps, or something along those lines. Which is kind of a problem. So, what I want to do today, partly, because I know that if I apply myself properly, this won't take the entire stream. This won't take a whole 4 hours. The thing I want to do is that I want to be able to pass whatever data that we need to save. So, say, for example, the T-map storing the cheese and the fruit collectibles within the player state into the game data as we're saving, and then passing it back into the player state when we load. At the moment, as a foundation for that, on begin play. Oh, right. That's why it's crashing. I can see where it's crashing now. Or at the very least, I can see where the engine is crashing when we try to load into the third-person testing environment. It's this line right here, because there's no recently accessed save. So, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to close the engine. We're going to quickly fix this line right now, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to use that third-person map to actually test out small little things. And that's inconvenient, because I like using that as my little, like, environment for testing and workshopping mechanics and stuff, and things with the enemy AI as well. Speaking of, I do want to eventually make character models for, like, 1 or 2 character models for the enemies, because the closer I can get to having something visual, like a visual representation for enemies and projectiles, and, like, at least a level environment, the closer that I can get to actually making, like, a demo or a prototype build that people can sort of, like, get into their hands, mess around with, and give feedback on. And that's the one thing I actually want to try and do by the end of the year. That's one of my goals by the end of the year. Aside from reaching 200 followers, which bearing in mind we're on the third month of the year already, which is kind of crazy that we're in March already, and we're still at 100, like roughly 100 followers or so. That'll take its time, but in terms of getting the prototype done, I do want to lock in and get it done. At some point, I may, like, aside from trying to get myself to actually actively work on game dev stuff more often again, because I've been pretty slow with it recently, because, like, motivation, mental health, and concentration and stuff, I do probably want to try and have a period of streams where all I do is just game dev, just so we can focus more on getting stuff done, like cracking on and getting everything ready that we need to get ready, if that makes sense. But anyway, we need to fix this line, and I'm just going to basically say if save subsystem, and then we're going to say if recently accessed save, and we're only going to do this if recently accessed save exists. If recently accessed save exists, then we're going to load save game, we're going to load the data into, like, whatever. I feel like... I'm trying to think. Actually, now that I think about it, I wouldn't actively, because this, like, not only would, like, calling load save game do, like, whatever I have bound to the player state here, it would also do it for every other object that's, like, bound to the, like, save game, save started multicast delegates. So, there's something I want to try. I'm gonna grab this. We're going to get rid of this. I'm going to compile so we can get this change pushed forward. And one thing that I definitely do need to do as well, I haven't uploaded my stuff to my GitHub that I use for this project for a while, which is kind of concerning. I should do that a bit more often. Considering the fact that, one, it reflects well on, you know, like, job applications and stuff, or, like, game dev stuff, and two, it would probably be better if I actually made sure that things were up to date on the GitHub in the event that shit happened with my PC. Not that I'm saying something will happen, I'm just saying you never know. Especially considering the fact that most of the parts for this thing are currently almost, like, been used for 5 years, and I need new stuff. But, you know, it's difficult to get new parts. Money. It being very expensive to make something high-end. But yeah, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, so if I try playing here now, I get the feeling it's still... No, it doesn't crash anymore. Okay, so it was that one line that we made that was causing the problems. If I press 2 to try and save, it will still crash because I have no thing to account for whether or not... Oh wait, no, I know what it is. It's because it also uses that same line where it checks for the recently accessed save. So... now that we know, like, on both fronts what the hell's happening... we can sort it out. Right, so back into Rider, go to the player controller, and I know it's unnecessary because at the moment we're just using this for testing and we're eventually going to get rid of this, but we're going to say if save subsystem recently accessed save is equal to null pointer, then return. We don't want to do anything else here. We're just saying, you know, stop being, stop being silly. Don't try and save at all, because there's no recently accessed save. That doesn't exist at all. So we're going to compile this. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to be able to have the level environment back. You know, I want to be able to have access to it again for like testing and stuff. So yes, we're gonna get that done. I also think about it. I also like realize and thinking about it. It's been over 4 years. Wait. Yeah, it's been over 4 years. It's been over 4 years since I made my profile picture for my Twitch, and I realized that, yeah, things are different now with it. So I am definitely gonna spend time updating it, because there are things that I need to do. I need to update it. I need to do more of the stuff for the PNG, because as I've explained before, like during my previous art stream, I do want to do that because it would allow things to be a lot more expressive. It would allow me to make things a lot more expressive, especially when like I'm reacting reacting and being expressive within myself, but it doesn't reflect well on the PNG, because at the moment he just flaps his gums and doesn't change from like this kind of like expression, aside from like blinking and, you know, opening and closing his mouth. So I know that will definitely require some work in terms of like posing and expressions and stuff like that, but if I put the effort in, it will all be worth it in the end. It will make things feel a little more alive, in my opinion. Yeah, so if I go in here now, and I try to press the save button, or the button that I'm using to save, it won't do anything anymore, and we don't have any crashes anymore, which is good. So we have this environment to ourselves again to use. And also, we now get to have a little bit of a better look at the collectibles, like, sort of spinning around. I still need to sort out, like, the other thing with those, because at the moment, they are rotating. That is intentional. The other thing I wanted to have them do was kind of, like, bob up and down, but I definitely did something wrong when I was doing the blueprint code for that. Or the, was it blueprint code? Yeah, I think it was the blueprint code for it. It definitely just kind of, yeah, it just keeps them in the one position, and it tries to move them up and down, but I think, yeah, there's a constant, like, sort of, like, flicker up and down with them trying to bob up and down, but it just doesn't work. So I'm going to sort that out at some point, maybe after I finish doing the save subsystem, like, the save system stuff. But now, the thing I want to do is... Right, there's only one good way I get to test this within, like, that level environment. So if I go... If I go into... Let me think. If I go into maps and I go into the test level... Right, so... First things first, I'm going to throw down some of the collectibles. So I'm going to go into level object, although that's not the right one. It's collectibles. I'm going to temp collectible. Throw this one here. I'm going to throw down two. I'm going to throw down one for the fruit and one for the cheese. So I'm going to throw this one here. We're going to change the enum for this. Oh, right. Call it cheese one, and then we're gonna grab another one from here. We're gonna change it to secondary collectible. We're gonna call it fruit one, and those will be the IDs for those. I'm going to save the test level, so, you know, if we close the engine by this point, it just won't just, like, remove those changes and whatnot. Then, if we go... right, let me think. Okay, so... Right, level blueprint, right. So at the moment, it does UI5, gonna get the save subs, get TP save subsystem. Gonna say load save game, because that's what we were doing, and if we get recently accessed save, and we get slot name, then we push that in there, and we plug that in there. But I should also make sure whether or not this is valid, because I don't want to just, like, if I wanted to load in without going through the main menu, I want to make sure that this exists. So, is valid. And if it does exist, if it is valid, then we just do this. But yeah, that's those changes for that, and we're going to make sure that it will work. Yeah, right, cool. Right, now we will go to the, where is it? Maps, and then we're back into the main menu. Also, in terms of Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm having so much fun with it. It's taken time to get used to how different things feel, especially with some weapons and whatnot. Because I was already using Charge Blade and Insect Glaive on stream, but getting used to how Insect Glaive works in terms of like amping up the abilities that Insect Glaive has is very different compared to the previous games. Because in the previous games, in terms of like being able to like do like what is essentially like floating around like a bloody helicopter rather than just sort of like dashing from one point to another in the air, all you needed was the like the red buff from monsters, and that was about it. Like the other ones you could potentially do without. Normally it was just a good idea to get all three anyway, but the red buff was all you needed for the Insect Glaive to be able to do all that stuff. They've made it different now in Wilds. You now need all three of the little buff things picked up by your Kinsect to be able to actually do that stuff now. So you have to try and focus on, like, in between, like, dealing damage and stuff, you have to try and focus on keeping all three active at the same time, because once you have all three active, you're able to just do more as the Insect Glaive. There is one thing that definitely makes that easier, and I'm assuming that it will definitely become a lot easier later in the game when I'm able to, like, get better Kinsects and whatnot. But in terms of, like, where I am at in terms of the game right now, where I don't have a very good Kinsect, using the Focus Strike, that thing where you go into focus mode and then you strike the wound with the Focus Strike, the Insect Glaive's Focus Strike just lets you get all three buffs at the same time by just launching the Kinsect right at the monster when you strike them in the wound. And it's so sick. I think I actually did that on stream playing Monster Hunter Wilds back on Friday, but it's just been getting used to things more over time. Also, it's nice actually seeing one or two models for monsters that back in the original beta showed up as like the low poly monstrosities unintentionally because of how unstable that beta build was for some systems. Oh, sorry about that. And I know at the time, Dragon wasn't having too many problems when me and her played the beta, but for me, the entire time, Raidal, the apex predator of the like the desert area in the game, just was low poly, and it was hilarious. But at the same time, it's like, come on, I want to see this man's design. And I finally got to like properly. I know it was like already shown off in trailers and whatnot, but being able to fight against like it in its full glory, definitely worth it. Also, the music is great. It's so good. I love it. Like, like I'm not at the end of the story, and I'm not at the point where I'm just, you know, on the grind for hunter rank and stuff yet, because, you know, work and other stuff in life keeping me busy, but I will have that done eventually, and I will be able to get, like, start grinding on, like, hunter rank and stuff before the first title update, I hope. Because I think that's when they add Mizitsune back into, or they have Mizitsune return from the other games and whatnot. And I know Mizitsune only just, like, recently appeared in Rise and whatnot, though I feel like a lot of people are still just generally happy to see Mizitsune back again. But yeah, fun times with Wilds. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's so good. I would be shocked if it somehow didn't win at least one award at the Game Awards. I know it's 9 months away. I know there's time for, like, things to change or other games to release, and then, like, people be like, ah, this is much better than this game, and so on and so forth, and opinions can shift and change over time. But I would be genuinely surprised if Wilds didn't win, like, one award at the very least. It's peak. It's honestly peak. And the fact that it managed to break, like, roughly 1 million players on launch is fucking insane. It's crazy. Anyway, enough of me rambling about why I'm enjoying Monster Hunter Wild so much. Although it is, like, a nice little thing to do. So, at the moment, when we save, or when we, hold on, brain is braining right now. I think in the subsystem, I don't know if the subsystem does this. Save necessary player data. So that's done by the broadcast. I wonder if I can get the current, like, get the level name in or from the subsystem. So if I go into, so in the subsystem, when we get the last level name, we say U gameplay statics get current, or we say, yeah, get current level name, and then we have, like, a world context object. But I don't know if the subsystem can actually count as a world context object. So U gameplay statics get current level name. This? I don't know if this could count as a world context object. Game data last save level equals F name. And I know, oh, there we go. Right, we're doing a C style cast to cast it to an F name. We'll do that and yada 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 yada. So I do want to, because get current level name returns an F string. So I do want to try and printing a log and see if this actually works. So here we log warning text, and then we're just gonna say %. So last level name %s And then we need to dereference it with this, and we're going to say new game. And I think that's how you format it from like an F string into a regular string. If memory serves me well, I believe that's how you format it. Right, so, and that's in the save subsystem. I was making sure that this was in the save subsystem. Okay, cool. Right, so we're gonna recompile the code again, load the project up again, and then we're gonna go from there. Oh, sorry. Okay, right, so back to the main menu. I don't know if that did it right. So if we press 2... Okay, it does work. Right, so the subsystem actually can function as a world context object. Okay, cool. So now that we know that that can work, I wasn't expecting it to be able to function as that, but... Oh wait, I wasn't in the engine. I wasn't in the engine. I wasn't focused on the engine. Right, so if I press 2... In that log where we were checking for the level name, that does work. So that does surprise even me. I surprise even myself. I also forgot that things will appear that low. But yeah, we'll close that. So I don't have to have that happen in any other part of the code. So I'm gonna close the engine again. I don't need to have this like get the last saved level name in any other like area of the code. I don't need to go into like a specific like object, like a character or so on, to say, oh yeah, this is the last saved level name. We don't need to do that, which is good. We simply just do it from here. That was literally all I was like checking here, just to make sure that this line worked, so we can get rid of this. But now, what we want to do when we start saving the game is we want to essentially, like when we broadcast this, anything that's bound to it, we want to pass whatever data that we need to into there, which should be simple enough. So if we go into the player state, onSave started is basically a method that we made in order to actually, you know, do this. I should also probably double check whether or not, because what I originally did, as I showed it off earlier, originally I just had it calling like the load save game from the player state, which is not ideal. I don't want it to happen from the player state because it shouldn't have to depend on the player state. It shouldn't have to depend on that, but one thing I am going to check is, like, in the code, if we go into the code quickly, when we say onSaveGameLoaded, when this method's called for the broadcast, we just say, oh, sorry, we just say, oh, the data's loaded. We just do that. So if we go into the main menu, because we're going to have to do this from the main menu now. We're going to do this, do this, do this. If it says data loaded, I can't tell because those have appeared. As far as I'm aware, that's not doing that anymore. Okay. Right. Problems have been encountered, possibly. Okay. Let me think. Now I need to remember if there's any there. I think there's any. There's. Ugh, my brain. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look at the. Actor initialize, pre-initialize components, initialize components, post-initialize. So spawn actor, on actor spawned. Okay, right. I'm going to ATP players. Right. I'm going to run a check on the thing. So I don't know if, because it does inherit from a player state, and a player state inherits likely from actor. So if we go to declaration, a info, go to declaration, a info inherits from actor. There's a specific. It's not it. It's. So we've got post load for actors statically placed on a level. Here external components. Okay, ad break is starting in a few minutes, chat. New actor component. How does it not exist on actor spawn? Unreal. I feel like the only thing I could possibly do is post-initialize components and use that as the way to do that. We're gonna go back, go back, go back. So I don't know. Oh my god, I should have. Right, I need to go back up the chain again, right? Player state to info and then to actor. And then post initialize. Yeah, post initialize components. So I don't know if this is like a public or a... Right, I think this is a protected republic. So post initialize components. Override. Right. And then here, rather than do stuff in begin play, I want to do it here, because post-initialized components will be called before begin play. So throw this in, yeah, in post-initialized components. Though I may actually want to throw this above begin play, considering the fact that it is the thing that happens before begin play, and it would make sense in terms of structure. So right. And then we recompile. And hopefully we don't have any errors, and if we do, then we'll just figure out what it is. As is the case with just programming, you eventually figure things out. So no errors in the code. Also, ad break starts. But I'll be back in a few minutes, chat. Right, welcome back. Right, so the code was able to compile. We haven't tested things out yet. In terms of like post initialized component and whatnot, and whether or not having the binding for the save stuff actually works there. We'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on the output log. Do this. I cannot tell if anything happened there. It did. It worked. Right. Cool. Okay. So now I know that if I want to bind things to the save and load thing, before it's called when a level loads, I just need to use the whatchamacallit, post initialize component method. That learning about that's pretty helpful. I know it probably may not be the best method in the long run, but we'll use it for the time being. We'll use this for the time being. So now that we know that that effectively works, on save started, because we know that the save subsystem does work, or does exist, so I don't need to, I mean, I can just, I'll probably still do this line and check whether or not it exists. So if save subsystem, so save subsystem, recently access date save, cheese map equals cheese map, so the one that we're storing on here, and then save subsystem recently access saved fruit map equals the fruit map that we have on the player state. So now if this does as it's supposed to, then this should work. However, then we need to do the inverse as we're loading in. So basically we just take this and then we just set this, and then we do the same for the fruit map, and provided that this nothing goes wrong with this should work. And then compile. Right, all sorted. Now, I also want to adjust the collectibles because I feel like they sink too far down. Right, so we're going to throw them there, save the level, and then we're going to do this, do this, do this. Now, the thing that we need to keep an eye on is the player state and the fruit map and cheese map there. That doesn't seem right. Should be adding them to the fruit and cheese map. Odd? Okay, that doesn't seem to be... Hold on. Okay, so... hold on. Actually, this may be within the blueprints. So we go into blueprints, and we go into collectibles, temp collectible. So one component overlap box. Collected collectible. So go back into the code. We need to go to the collectible base. So it is collectible base, H. It does make me wish that I had, like, organized absolutely everything as soon as possible. Okay, that doesn't seem right. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It was in the player state, okay. Right, so... Add collectible to map. Collectible equals null pointer, return. Right. I need to check whether or not this is being called right. So go back into the engine. Save this because we only move things around, but I'm just going to save it anyway because it will bug me. We need to keep an eye on the output log as well. So keep an eye on the player state and keep an eye on the output log. So if I collect this, right, so that's not being called at all. Neither is this. Okay, right, so something's definitely gone wrong. So add collectible to map. So this may be flagged as a null pointer. So I'm going to adjust this so that I can actually print a UE log first. And say UE underscore log temp warning text. And we're just going to say collectible is null. Because this hasn't happened before. This hasn't happened with collectibles before. So it is kind of interesting that this is happening now. So okay, so back into the engine. Maps, main menu. and then do the thing again. Right. So I'm going to check whether or not this collectible is being flagged as null. Okay, so interesting. It's like that method isn't being called at all, which is interesting. So it's probably an issue with the blueprint itself. So I'm gonna move this. Does implement interface, player character interface, because of course that does happen. That does happen, and this does happen. So TP collectible interface. Either that or it is happening, but if it was happening, then in the player state, there is collected collectible being flagged as well, and this isn't happening at all. So add collectible to map is probably not being called in the slightest, which... Oh, there's collected collectible as well. Where is... Close the engine, reopen the engine, because this is a very important thing that we need to make sure is working again. Because it was working before, and now it's just not working, so, concerning. Oh, gosh. Okay, right. Forward, right. So we're going to... Right. Like typical, it's like one step forward and then we have 2 steps back as well. So if we do this... Okay, so that method is just not being called at all. That method just doesn't exist, apparently. Right, so we're going to have to look into this. So, at the very least, we tested it inside the actual method that's called when we're adding the collectible to the T-map, and the method that's called, was supposed to be called when we walk into the collectible. So, now... we need to look at the collectible object itself and see what's going on with this, because this shouldn't be acting like this. And I know that there's no, like, thing for if the ID is empty, then it just... Right. Okay, so... Right, so we're going to have to go into this. Of course this is working, it's just... for some reason, this is just not working at all. And this was working before, so I have no idea what's different now. So, I'm going to check whether or not this is valid. So, it is valid. Did not mean to click standard macros. Always fun trying to find out the root of the problem and sort these problems out. So player state is null. That's the thing we want to print if, you know, the player state is apparently non-existent. Oh, wait. Player state is null. Wait, what do you mean the player state is null? So apparently the player state just doesn't exist? I swear to God, there was something that was happening, I believe, within the player controller that was similar to this. So let's look at the... Oh, whoops. Right. Okay, I think I know the problem. I think I know what the problem is. Right. So instead of doing what we're doing in the collectible, because at the moment we just get player state, we're going to get player controller, get rid of this, say get pawn, or get control pawn, and then get player state. Now this should work again, I hope. So main menu. Right, that works again now. Good. Good. Cool. So that's one thing fixed. So just sorting this out. Gosh. Right. So we found that problem, we fixed it. And we don't have to worry too much about that. Now we just need to make sure, one, I'm probably going to tidy up the UE logs now, because we do not need a lot of them. I'll keep them around just in case, like, we have any problems again. Like, I'll comment them out. So, collectible base, I don't need this open because I was checking to see what was going on there. The player state. Comment that out. Comment that out. Right. So we're going to comment those out. Keep them for if we need them again. I know I can just get rid of them easily, but you never know. And it saves me having to rewrite them again. if I need them in those specific places again, so yes. Righty ho. So, now that that is working, and we have it working as we intend for it to work, now, first things first, we need to keep an eye on the player state, because that will be tracking the cheese map and the fruit map. So that's adding one entry there, and that's adding one entry there, and now if we save, that will have saved the cheese and the fruit maps to that file. And with the stuff that I've been doing, for like the loading side of things, if I click load, and I load slot 1, and we check the player state, okay, something has, right, so data loaded. Okay, so something has not happened. Okay, right. So we go back into the code, into the player state. So I think how I did it was I used the load collectible map. So I used load collectible map twice. So save, subsystem, recently accessed save, fruit map, then false, and then I do the same with the other one, so but say true for cheese. So load collectible map, save, subsystem, recently accessed save, cheese map, true. And now I'm hoping that this does work, but there's no guarantee. So we'll close the engine again, give it a little bit of a moment, and then we recompile. But yes, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep level 1 begins tomorrow, and it's been a good many months since since I finished Kingdom Hearts 2 level 1. It's been a long enough break. We've had quite a few like playthroughs and a lot of time between like then and now to start the next level 1 playthrough. So we've got time. Or no, we've had enough time, so we've got work to do. Cool. Main menu, do this, load. Alright, I forgot that I was, no, it didn't. Okay, that's weird. Why is it not? Right. Okay, so if save subsystem, we know this works. But I'm gonna throw this here anyway. No, actually. Right. So throw that there. Close. In a way, like, while things were working fine beforehand, this is just making sure that things are still robust, or whether or not things need to be kind of shored up and improved upon, if that makes sense. So, this is a necessary step, in my opinion. Now, did this... Okay, so loading collectible map data, loading collectible map data. Then again, I'm also not checking whether or not the saving is, like, working on the player state side as well. So, that's another thing. Right, so we know that this is being called. I'm also going to add another thing that says UE_log, log warning, text. Collectible map entry number, or number of entries. Alright, and now I need to remember how to do, like, format it for an integer, so... Oh yeah, string formatting. Yep, that's it. Okay, right. Apparently that should work. Right, this is another way of doing it. So... Hey, never mind. Why is that not? Huh. Right. Activable. Let me think. What is look text? That's a different one. That's a different one. Okay. Also, oh, the music. Ah, that's not it. That Sheila's out. There we go. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff for formatting, and it's weird. This should work. Hello, heater. I should wonder if this formatting will work. We will find out. We're gonna find out if this formatting will work for the string, because I can't remember if I can actually be used for, like, formatting for an integer. Heatman does exist. Wow. He has been asleep for so long. I missed him. Okay, apparently that does work. Cool. Sometimes, as I already said earlier, I surprise even myself. Right. And then there's my phone saying iOS 18.3.1 is ready to install. I'm not ready to install it yet. I'm not ready. Did you ask me? Screw you. Anyway, so we're going to go to the main menu, we're going to load. I also should actually double check that this is there before anything. We're going to go slot 1. Now for both instances, I need to see what the collectible count is. Okay, so number of collectibles is apparently 0. Okay. That doesn't seem right. Okay. So we're fixing this. We're fixing this slowly. Okay, so... So add collectible to map, that's happening as expected. But for some reason, when we're testing, like, saving the game through the save subsystem, when this, like... Saving game start, we should... I should have kept the engine. Alright, I can just reopen the engine. Okay. Okay. Yeah, trying this again. I'm gonna make sure that this is... So, if we go into the output log and we press 2... Yep, saving game is started, so that is happening. And then if I'm just gonna do this multiple times just to make sure. Just to make sure that this is being saved properly. Then, if we go into the doohickamajig, we're going to load... Okay, that's odd. Why is it not... Because as far as I'm aware, it's not creating, like, a new save data. Right, so if I go into when it... So when we click... So in the save subsystem, so we know how create new save data works. We have load save game. Red rat, red rat, red rat. Rat dance. Probably have the rat man dance in the ball game, who knows. So recently access save, there. Andy mode. Oh, angry mode. Right, so I didn't actually put a UE log here to make sure that this was working. So UE log temp. I mean, it is, but and then save game load completed. So I have no idea how I couldn't explain it. It is your brain. Is your brain is your life. Okay, I was distracted by group chat stuff. Gonna say, save exists. Then we're gonna close the engine again. I've been doing a lot of this stuff, like dipping between the engine and the code because we've had quite a bit to fix. I thought this wouldn't take as long, but this is taking longer than I thought. But that's not a bad thing. Also, it's kind of funny. During work today, like going back to the subject of Monster Hunter Wilds, during work today, in between like doing all of my stuff at work, the one thing that I thought every so often was I could be playing Monster Hunter Wilds right now. I could be doing this right now, but I had work. Go back. Right, the thing I added was does save exist, right? Or save exists, right? So, no, I closed the engine. Ah! Oh wait, no, I closed the code. Okay, never mind. My brain got confused. Right, so load. So according to this, right, so save does exist. So it should be saving the data. So for some reason, this is just not saving it. Right. Oh, that's why. Okay. Right, I know what changes need to be made. I've realized the error. Okay, cool. We know the problem, guys. We know the root cause. Just give me a moment to just pretend to hit my head on the desk, but really I'm just resting it in between my arms because head is heavy. Okay, there we go. Brain's done having that moment. So in the delegate from the subsystem, I made the dynamic multicast delegate f save subsystem save game started. I'm going to change that to be a one parameter multicast delegate, and actually I'm going to forward declare these up here first so I can actually do this. So we're going to have this be a U. Hold on, wait, let me check. As a U game save data, right? So a U game save data, and we're going to call this type is incomplete. Oh, for crying out loud. Can I just include this as a template type? Can I just say T? No, I can't. No. Hold on. Right. Wait, hold on. What about if I do a one parameter, but instead of using our custom one, we use a save game instead? Save game. Oh, God. I'm gonna have to look up a thing quickly. Hold on. So, UE5 multicast. That's the problem. I think so. And then save game is forward declared, of course. If I was to get rid of usave, or if I was to comment out usave game, I'm pretty sure this would break. Or I'm wrong? Let's try compile. I get the feeling that this will break. We'll see whether or not this does break when I try to compile it by getting rid of the forward declaration. I am sneaking suspicion that it will break. Okay, apparently not. So, what gives? Right. Okay, so considering that allows it to compile, can I pass, like, can I pass a usave game pointer as a parameter? Is this what it meant by the type was incomplete? Hold on. Game save data pointer. Oh my god, it was. Are you serious? I'm so upset. Ooh, whoops. So game data is broadcast into the thingamajig. So now, if I go into the player state, at the moment, where are the errors? Yeah, no, of course. On save started. So where is the U function? On save started. Class U game save data. So what did I call it? I called it save game. Right, save game, and then that works again, and then on save started needs the U game save data. Save game. Oh, it needs to be a pointer. Whoops. And now I don't need the reference to the subsystem there. Yeah, I don't need the reference to the subsystem there. We just do save game. I need to include the, Oh, I already have it included. Never mind. Save game. Oh, wait, of course I have it included, because of... Never mind. Right. Save game, cheese map equals cheese map. Save game, fruit map equals fruit map. So... And then, when we load the game, it will just grab the recently accessed data and just sort of, like, do that. I feel like one other thing that I need to do after saving the data, save game to slot, is that I need to do, or change the, so game, date, so recently access saved equals game data. Just in case we need to, like, load into another place or whatnot. And the recently accessed saved is essentially, you know, current. Ad break is starting in about 2 minutes and 40 seconds, chat. So hopefully now... Oh wait, there's still an error up here. Is this... Oh yeah, this is just it being weird. Why? I don't know why it does that, where it says can't get, or cannot get compile time verbosity. Like, why? I don't understand why it does it sometimes. It's weird. It has its little hiccups at times. It just does stuff. And that works. Cool. Right. Just a few moments. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do this test from the start again. Right, so main menu, start, slot 1. We're making a new save game there. And then we're gonna click the button to test the save, so that works. And I'm gonna fix this probably after the ad break, because there's another thing that we need to sort out. So we're going to load slot 1, and it's still saying that there's no data. Oh wait, that's because I didn't pick up the collectibles, that's why. Why did I close? I could have just... Never mind. Right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pick up the collectibles. I'm gonna save. Then we're going to load. And that works! Let's go! So if we go into the player state, yeah, our cheese count and fruit count are the same, and the entries are populated into the cheese map and the fruit map, into both the maps. Anyway, ad break is starting again, so I'm going to catch you all in a few minutes. So hang on tight and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Okay, cool. So now that we know that saving and loading things via the subsystem works, that works now. Thank God. At the very least, on the small scale. We don't know about a larger scale at the moment, but we will get that. We'll get to there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. However, one thing that I do want to address with the main menu is one error that constantly gets flagged is the blueprint runtime error. Access none trying to read property, call function, load save slot menu, return value 1. Node bind event to save slot menu closed. So which is in the main menu blueprint. So if I go to widgets, main menu, so in the main menu, okay, I feel like right, it's definitely here where it's bound to. Now, at the moment, I don't know if this will cause a crash within a build. And I should probably actually test that within the build at some point. So, And if I go into save slot menu, go there. Save slot menu closed is an event dispatcher. Save slot menu, back button, call save slot menu closed. And then in WVP main menu, yeah. Let's follow the output log so we see when exactly. So this happens. Okay, I was not keeping it right. Okay, it was not all the way at the bottom. Okay, so when this happens is literally the first time the save slot menu is loaded. So access none trying to read property, call function, load save slot, return, or load save slot there. Right, so apparently for some reason it accesses none when it's trying to read that return value. For some reason. Okay. So if we go into load save slot menu, yeah, because I remember now. We create the widget, we initialize the menu with is loading, we add it to the viewport, and then we return, like do the return node. Now I'm wondering if it would be worth adding a. Can I add a delay? No, I can't add a delay within a function. So now I wonder if it will be worth slightly delaying. So if I add a delay before like this event is bound, so if I do a 0.1 second delay, plug that in there, and then I plug these two into the delay, and then I do this, click start. No, that's still happening. Right, so access none, trying to reprop. So the thing is, I should also... Oh, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Go into save slot menu, that's the wrong one. Go into main menu. I'm gonna do a thing, I'm gonna add a sequence. So, add a sequence. And it's basically, in Blueprints, a sequence basically lets things happen, like multiple things happen at a time. So, if we plug it in there, and we plug first, then 0, and then 1, and I'm going to check is valid. Or I'm going to swap them around. I'm going to swap them around. So if I say this is valid, and this is going to happen when we check the start button, so we're going to say widget is valid, and then if it's not valid, we're going to say widget is null. So I'm going to do that, and then okay, so the widget is valid. So I'm trying to fathom. Right, so don't need these because we know that this works, or we know that this is valid. So what is going on? Bind event to say slot closed. Oh. Oh wait, no, because it is returning a save slot menu. Never mind, I'm silly. Right. Never mind. Just ignore me. Just ignore me. Me thinking I'd struck gold when in actuality I hadn't. Ah, no, I dropped my thing. My important thing. A medicine that lets me breathe. Or breathe better. Oh wait, no, actually that's the one that helps my heart stay okay. This is the one that helps me breathe. Oh, ouch. Oh, right, that's sorted. Anyway, I'm trying to understand... Like, it's saying it's valid. Ouch. Okay, so... is it? Right, so if I was to... Alright, I'm going to disconnect this, because I'm going to test some things in isolation. Of course, right, it's entirely within, like, that being, like, binding the save slot menu to that. So, right, so it strictly takes a save slot menu reference, so it... So it strictly takes that type of object as a reference, so... But why is it saying it's accessing none when it's trying to... It says it's accessing... Ugh, God. Hold on. Gosh. Oh gosh. Let's see. I'm trying to fish around for Okay, right. I might have the solution. I might know what I'm doing wrong. Alright, so I'm gonna say variables. Call this, so WDP save slot menu. This is going to be a save slot menu object reference. Set save slot menu to first. Oh, did not mean to do that. Set it first to this thing here. Then do that. And we need to do the same for up here too. So drag that up there. Do the thing. Drag the thing. And voila. Right. And instead of having these two be plugged, I'm going to get the save slot menu variable that we just made. Because I think how I was doing it before is not exactly the best way of doing it. Right, so Okay, we're not getting the error anymore. Right. So it was because we were just grabbing a thing and not, you know, actually storing it within a variable. Okay. Cool. That error is fixed. We no longer get the error being flagged on, like, stopping play mode. That's great. That's great. So that is sorted. So, no. Oh, sorry about that, chat. Honestly, honest to God, work was kind of a crazy one today. It was pretty tiring. A lot of like trying to sort bits around the shop and then having to like stay on hills the entire time because of being short-staffed and whatnot. But I do the things that I do to make monies and make a living and stuff. Right. Ouch. Okay, right. So, in terms of next steps, for what we do now, because we essentially have a working save system. We have our working save system. We fixed that issue with the main menu. We sorted things out for the most part with the player. There's still some issues that we need to address texture-wise. To be fair, if I wanted to, I could just shift focus back over to Blender and we could get on with properly texturing the player model. Because at the moment, with the player at the moment, like, it's just a block of, like, solid red color. There's no shading or anything. There's nothing to, like, distinguish, like, the underside of things or anything. It doesn't look the great. It works for what it needs to be, but it's not the greatest. So we can sort that out, or we can also like start trying to apply some of the things that we've made in this test environment. At the very least, we can start littering collectibles in some of the areas. I didn't factor in like enemies for this test environment because as I've said previously, this was mostly like the environment used for testing like the player mechanics and whatnot, more than anything else. So I don't think it would work to have enemies in this test level at the very least. Also, may as well just run through it again because it's been a while. The one thing I do want to sort out eventually, I definitely do want to sort out like trying to make my own animations for the player rather than use the Unreal ones. Just because, like, as well as it works for the time being, I don't want to have to rely on it all the time, and it does admittedly look a bit awkward. So, like, it looks very goofy having this Ratman run towards like the camera. If I was to do this, and then like rah, rah, like that looks goofy more than anything, and that doesn't, like, I know it's supposed to be like a silly kind of game, but at the same time, it doesn't work for what we're trying to do. Ratman jump game. Hey, Nick. Oh, shit. Okay, right. So, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think. It's difficult to think. Have I implemented the gore slider yet? I have not. No, I don't know if I will, but it would be crazy. But yeah, no, things are going pretty well. We got collectibles. We got. We've got a working proper save system now. We've got like the character model kind of rigged. We don't have custom animations made for it yet, which I want to do eventually. We've got basic texture blocked out, though I do want to improve that. I haven't made anything for the enemies, and I do want to make like models and stuff for the enemies too eventually too, because that would be nice to have. Actually, does like making geometry for a level eventually is going to be a lot of work as well. But yeah, that's what we have at the moment. And now, like, we just like finished working on like the save system, like finalizing, fixing things, and all that jazz. And there was like an error that we were having in the main menu, which that's all sorted now. It's just working out where to go next for today. Because normally I just have a thing planned for the day, or one or two things planned. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then just do things. Have I chosen a name? I have not chosen a name for the game yet. I still haven't done it. Don't Starve Together has had a theme update. Ooh. You're gonna drag me back through DST again soon here. I know you've been giving me a break from it, but I know you're gonna drag me through it all again. It's bound to happen. Look, within 1 to 3 working days, if I talk about Don't Starve Together on stream again, then you'll know what happened. So yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I think we're going to blend. Where is Blender? Also, let's look at the code again. Oh. Wait. My brain has stopped. Legit, my brain has stopped. Ah! Hold on. I'm gonna take a quick little break. Not for like an ad break or to go toilet. I'm gonna make myself some green tea, because that's gonna help bring my mind into a little bit more focus. Also, if anyone can think of a name for the game, like, or just some ideas that I could use, then let me know. But I'm just gonna quickly make myself some green tea just to bring my mind into focus, because it does help. So I'm gonna be back in just a few moments, chat. So yeah, don't hang on tight, and I won't be too long. Nick, I saw a ratatouille. God damn it. Anyway, green tea has been made. We've got a thing that will hopefully bring my little brain worms into focus. Oh gosh. I don't know if it was because of how short-staffed work was today or some of the things that happened at work today and whatnot, but man, my brain is just like wowee. Right, you know what? I'm gonna bring up Clip Studio because may as well. Just to sort of map out what we have in terms of where I need to go next. So in terms of also a post-practice reference sheet that I was using for like stuff on Friday. Slash demo requirements. So I know the save system will probably not be used for the demo, or maybe it will, but only to like a certain. On enemy designs, no, I haven't yet. That's a good point. I need to do that too. I need to add that to the list. So, player character model plus animations. So we have the model done, basically. We just need to actually do the rest of the texturing, and that wouldn't take too long, though there would be some things that I'd need to consider for that. In terms of like a demo, I'd say maybe 2/3 enemy designs, maybe? Just to keep it on like a sort of like small scope, so I'm not like pressuring myself to make too much for the prototype slash demo. You know, like something to start off with, and then we can kind of expand on that as we go along. Save system, which we have. We have our save system. We did that. What if I injected a remote access? Oh my god. Finally, I can see everyone else's files. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like definitely for the most part, in terms of like game dev streams, like I do get on with stuff, and I do okay with it. But at times, I do like unrealistically expect myself to be able to do so much. Whether that's like the programming, the stuff in Blender, the planning, and all the other stuff too, and it's not very healthy. So just taking the time just to kind of slow down like this, rather than constantly like, we're doing this, then we're doing this, okay, we need to fix this, we need to fix that. It's nice. It's nice to just kind of slow down and to kind of just sort of like chat about things. But yeah. But Monster Hunter Wilds has been super duper fun. I've been really enjoying that. Xenoblade Chronicles X finally comes to Switch later this month. Holy crap. I need to pre-order that when I get paid next, because I am playing that on launch. I won't be streaming it, but I am playing it on launch, because I never had a Wii U. So I never got to play X, sadly. So it'll be good to experience that finally for the first time. And then there's also like the extra bits that they added in terms of like new story stuff. And I'm wondering, like, people are thinking, oh, they're gonna finally link everything together with X. I'm not sure, but it would be cool to see what they've done with the extra story bits. Who knows? Yeah, that's happening. Imagine they put a Reaction Shock 5. No, that would. Oh, God. That would be cool, but also, what the fuck? Yes. They did it as a. Keto, what's wrong? What's wrong? Accident. No. No. I think I've done that once too. Yeah, no. I think I have actually. Because I know how weird it comes out when you put bad milk into tea. Yeah, no, that's not good. I think he did, Nick. I think he did. Oh no! 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 Oh. There's a thing I'm thinking. There is a. Yeah, it's like a weird skin. Right, what else? What else? Like, for the first time in ages the other day, so we got the save system, we got the enemy designs. Oh yeah, now I remember. Like, if we were talking about, like, an actual demo, then we'd need an actual, like, proper, like, level. Not like a block out level that I have right now for the test level, but an actual level. So, an actual level. So we don't have that at the moment. But yeah, the other day, first time in ages, I tried playing TF2 again for the first time in God knows how long. It didn't go too horribly. I actually did okay. I just opted to play as Scout because I thought, you know what, it'll be a fairly easy class to latch onto rather than trying to force myself to play Spy because I wouldn't be nearly as confident going in with Spy as I would have done years ago, so I just opted to Scout. I just went for the default Scattergun, Mad Milk, and the Sandman, because that was the loadout that I had for the Scout, like, the last time I properly played. Though I do know that the Sandman really isn't as useful as it used to be, because it doesn't properly stun anymore. It just slows enemies instead. Which I can understand why they changed it, but at the same time, it does kind of suck. I do miss being able to just hit, like, an enemy with the baseball and then with the Sandman and just have them just be stunned. It was great. Still have my Donk Demo Night loadout, which I haven't played for years. I... I don't think I ever managed to set on, like, a proper loadout for a demo night. There's a lot that I tried experimenting with along the lines with Spy and whatnot, because, like, ages ago, that was the class that I wanted to, like, main, but then, to be fair, I understood parts of playing as Spy, but never fully understood, like, how deep things had to be in order to, you know, like, properly play the mind games with people and whatnot. So, bearing in mind this was, like, years and years ago. Though I did get the strange kill streak loose cannon, which was why. All right, all right. Though I will say with Spy back in the day, I used to be a spy that used Dead Ringer and Your Eternal Reward. Um, I used to have just those two in conjunction with one another. Not gonna lie, the gambling aspect pulled me in way too. I never did the gambling aspect, but I can kind of see why, because you never know what the hell you're gonna get, and who knows, maybe you actually do get a strange weapon or a strange hat. It was the yeah, it's the unusuals, yeah. Never did though. To be fair, for the most part, I just kind of played just for the sake of playing, and that was about it. Though I did try and get good with like Spy and whatnot, but over the years I just lost consistency with it and just yeah, no, never did. But I feel like maybe much like with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel that I've been getting pretty into lately, maybe I can get myself back into playing TF2 every now and then. Like it is fun when like when you don't have bots in the lobbies, which they've gotten rid of them for the most part, thank God. By the way, that was done by a freelancer. That wasn't done by Valve themselves. That was done by a freelancer. Anyway, to be fair, if you're doing MD at some point, oh yeah, no, I did it back on Wednesday. Did I? Yeah, it was on Wednesday. I did it on Wednesday, and I feel like maybe the next time I have 2 break streams, I am probably just going to, like, do Master Duel again, because that was a fun stream. That was a pretty fun stream. Learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know before, and, from people in chat, and through a lot of terms and stuff around, I was like, oh, what deck am I running? At the moment, I run a Clyfort deck, though I have adjusted it with some bits, hand traps and whatnot, though I could always, like, build a second deck, because I know it's good to have, like, at least more than one, like, at least 2. At the moment, I just mainly use a Clyfort deck. I used to mainly run a Dark Magician deck, but at that point, I was very adamant on sticking with just, like, fusions and stuff, and I didn't run, like, Link monsters or Xyz summons or anything like that. But now I decided, yeah, you know what, screw it, Pendulum summoning's cool, I'm gonna do the funny, and now I'm gonna try and sort of explore my other options too. But it's all fun, it's all fun. But I definitely... You want an Eldritch Vamps Mayakashi deck? Oh, alright. One of the people who I dueled with the other day, who followed on that stream and like joined like for like lobby matches and whatnot, I think one of the decks they ran was like a punk deck, the PUNK deck. Which has, I believe, Psychic End Punisher as the synchro monster. Yeah, that's it. That would be Yermao. They're the one who mainly told me about a lot of the bloody, like the Yu-Gi-Oh specific like jargon slang stuff that I didn't know about before that stream. I was like, wow, this feels like I'm being given forbidden knowledge. Should I really know what this means? And I feel like while I will remember bits of it, I will struggle at times, so I just need a bit of a reminding every now and then. But that's all good. So, player character model plus animations, enemy design, save system, an actual level. Oh, wait. Forbidden Memories play. Hold on. Oh yeah, no, I saw hold on. I saw a physical copy of Forbidden Memories in the local entertainment exchange. Like a couple of times actually when I've just like popped in there on like a walk just to, just to see like if there was anything different they had in the window and whatnot. But most of the time, I'd always just look in the window and then there it is, a copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories on the PlayStation 1. Assuming it's not too like I'd have to wait until I get paid next on Friday, but I could definitely check how much it is. I don't remember off the top of my head, so I'd have to check. So sound effects, and then music, perhaps? That. And maybe I'll add a dotted line as a... I guess this dotted line could count as like a stretch goal. We'll say NPC dialogue. And now that begs the question, what kind of music am I wanting in the game exactly? Because I'm only adding it to the list now just as like a little thing, but I haven't really had a vision in mind. PS1 prices, from what I've seen at my local CEX, tend to be decent if they're not too popular or rare. I know it wasn't like pricey, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So I'd have to check again at some point when I go over there again. And that would have to be when I decide to go on a walk. Probably tomorrow, mayhaps. Thing is, Forbidden Memories can be quite desirable since it's a really meme-worthy game. Okay. I'm just giving myself a moment with this. But yeah, no, in terms of music and stuff, I haven't really, like, thought about it. Like, it's, like, nothing too modernized and whatnot. Because if I wanted to try and emulate the PS1 era, then I would want to try and have something that sounds very close to, like, soundtracks from that era, like with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and whatnot. Especially given that we have, like, that it is, like, a collectathon platformer, it would... The beeps and the boops, yeah, like that. Like, half the content is... Really? They locked half the game's content in the... In the international... What the fuck? That's so weird. Like, I know of, like, regional differences and whatnot, but that's a bit excessive. Basically, the Pocket Station is crucial to access the really rare cards. Oh. Like, you can't get Blue Eyes Ultimate or Gate Guard. Oh. Yeah, no, now I remember, because the Pocket Station was just Japan exclusive. I was thinking to myself, the Pocket Station, that sounded familiar, and then I remember, oh wait, it was the bloody thing that's exclusive. Just like, hmm, wow. The more you know. Right, so NPC dialogue is, I would say, a stretch goal for a prototype slash demo. It's not necessary for a prototype, but I would say for like a proper demo, it would be necessary mayhaps. But are the NPCs also rats? I mean, I'd say maybe some are rats, but I'd say... Hmm... I'd have to actually think about that, because in terms of like levels and stuff, I haven't thought about like what kind of locales and like destinations like the player would go to, and I feel like ideating some sort of ideas for level themes would also be good as well. So so where is my tablet pen? There we go. So note. So note, ideate level slash world themes. Yeah, no, like it could be. Um, you could be in a restaurant or in a. Wait a minute, that sounds way too. But what about you could own a renowned restaurant in Rio de Janeiro. Wait a minute. You could be one of three colorful rats, voiced by voice actors who voice characters from your childhood. And you're very poorly animated. And the entire first few minutes, Mike Pollock's precisely. Ratatouille is a thing that exists. The whole Chris Sabat as the main antagonist. Right, now I'm thinking to myself, like, are we imagining Chris Sabat Vegeta or Chris Sabat All Might? Because if we were going for All Might, then that would be hilarious. Like, fucking, like, young Rat Doria. Young Rat Doria. Oh, God. Have I played Neon? Oh, I did. I did 3 years ago. Neon White's pretty fun. I enjoyed it when I played it. I haven't played it since I beat it, but it was pretty fun when I was playing through it. I do need to revisit that at some point, because it'd be nice to sort of get, like, a different perspective on, like, different games as well. But yeah, no. Like, it was a pretty fun game. Like, there's other games I need to revisit too. I want to replay through Hi-Fi Rush again as well, because that game is just kick-ass. Yeah, right. But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush I want to replay through. I'm currently replaying through Persona 4 because I never properly finished it, even though I got right to the ending, like, to the final dungeon of the game, and I just stopped. So, and I couldn't be bothered to, like, get used to where I was again, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna play through the whole game from the beginning again, slowly. at a pace that's manageable for me, because it's not like 5 years ago being in lockdown and having nothing else better to do, so I just sink all my time into it. Um, then there's playing Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii on stream, because, you know, that's happening gradually. I do need to get back to, if you're wanting a beautiful indie puzzle game, you should definitely take Genesis Noir. Hold on. Genesis Noir. I'll throw that onto the list. I'll throw that onto the wish list, yeah. It's got a sequel coming out soon, which is... Oh, cool! Right. Ad break is starting in just a moment, so I'm going to throw out the sign. And we will be right back. So, hang tight. we're back. Welcome back. So we got ID8 level world themes. We got these different requirements. I'm gonna quickly look up a thing, and this is to do with dialogue systems stuff. So I'm gonna open this another tab of YouTube in another tab. I'm gonna close this tab. Think UE5 dialogue system, right. The problem is that looking up, like, a dialogue system in, like... Oh, I was about to say the Shield's out music stopped, but no, it's still got, like, a few minutes left. The thing. Oh yeah, no, looking up a dialogue system for Unreal. So, in terms of, like, how games like Spyro and whatnot back then handled dialogue, is that you'd simply just go, say, this is the line of dialogue, you move to the next line of dialogue, and so on and so forth, until you, like, reach the end of their dialogue and they stop talking. Whereas the ones that I'm seeing when I search up Unreal dialogue system is, like, you have a line of dialogue, and then it gives you, like, the choice of, like choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and then you have whatever branches off from there. And that's not what I'm wanting to do. Like, at the very least, not as, like, the standard. Like, maybe that would be an exception to the rule, perhaps, at times, but not the default. It really wouldn't be like, oh, every NPC just has multiple branching dialogue paths and whatnot. So ouch. That doesn't help me. Right. The other thing that I would want to try and look for as well is, like, if I was to just implement a dialogue system as is in Unreal, so if I just say, for example, I'm not going to actually draw, like, Ratman from memory, so say this is the player, say this is, like, an NPC, so NPC, and then, like, and then, like, here we just have, like, the text appearing and whatnot, la-di-da-di-da. By default, if I wasn't, like, putting in any special flair, then we'd just be able to, like, move the camera around and all that jazz. And we don't want to be able to just freely move the camera around while like with experiencing like the dialogue and whatnot. What I would want to have happen is essentially what happens in Spyro and many other games, where, for example, like say we run into an NPC, but instead of like say the camera goes like below where the player is slightly, and we get like an upwards view, like from a view from of the NPC, like from a lower angle compared to like just viewing them straight on. And that's essentially like, if I was to find a screenshot just to illustrate my point. Just to illustrate my point, okay, I was not expecting it to just be a small thing in the corner, but we're fine. I'm going to resize this just so I can... So say, for example, like you approach like an NPC or a character and the camera would just essentially refocus like this. I would want something like this, probably not exactly the same, but I would want something basically similar to this, is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, a simple dialogue system where we just go from one line to another. If we need, like, choices and whatnot to do a different thing, then we will do that. But for the most part, it will go from one line to the next, and, like, as the player is, like, listening to an NPC talk, then we just have the camera sort of change position and all that jazz. And that's essentially what I'm hoping to try and do with a dialogue system, like if and when we get around to it. Not necessarily saying that we're going to be doing it as soon as. That's just one of the things on the list. In terms of enemy designs, of course, we will have, like, we're gonna have a type of cat, or kind of like cat-inspired enemy design. But that would probably be for, like, sort of, like, ground-based enemies and whatnot. In terms of, like, flying enemies, I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would do, like, birds or something like that. Hold on, actually. Okay, birds of prey, of course. It says birds of prey. Right. So I should probably actually make another little, like, list page for this. So at the moment, I'm just going to use the Raplat, like, which is just the little code name. So Raplat, enemy ideas. Or I'm just gonna get, like, a sort of, like, generalized, like, list of kind of, like, what species could be used for the enemies. So of course, cats is one of them, and then we're gonna have birds of prey, which will, like, come under, like, different stuff, like falcons. Oh, owls as well. Eagles too. Snakes too. Apparently weasels prey on rats too. Oh, and dogs too, right. because some types of dogs are bred and trained to specifically hunt and kill rats. So, so cats, birds of prey like falcons, owls, and eagles, snakes, weasels, and dogs are. I'd say I'm gonna add to like the left and say general enemy ideas. These won't be like specific enemy ideas. This is just more of a generalized list of what can we use as a blueprint for enemies as a whole, and how like this is like general enemy ideas, but in terms of like actual themes, how could we theme these enemies so that so that while the species remains within like a given selection of different animals and creatures and whatnot, how do we make this unique in different instances? Right. So maybe like knights or medieval. Medieval, like pirates, maybe space or zombies. Like Western. Spaces. Or fantasy as well. Fantasy could work too. And underwater's not a guarantee at the moment, though. If I do decide to actually have like underwater levels, then that would introduce the dilemma of, would we want the player to be able to navigate these spaces themselves, or would they use a vehicle of some kind? But yeah, so we have medieval, pirates, space, zombies, western, fantasy, underwater. Like maybe mythological as well? So mythological. I believe rats can swim, so it'd be up to you really. It'll be my discretion. Oh. So in terms of themes for enemies and whatnot, or themes for enemies and levels, if anyone in chat or anyone watching things back, like, has any ideas at all, don't hesitate to throw them my way, because, well, I have come up with, like, a kind of decent list of things so far, like, for both, like, themes and also, like, enemy ideas. Any extra ones that I may or may not have missed could work as well, so just don't hesitate to throw it my way. Like, go ahead. So now, there is... So now that I think about it, while like having different like themes for the enemies is well and good and all. However, there is a unique kind of issue that presents, and that means like creating like designs for different enemies for different themes, and it's whether or not like elements of different character models can be reused. That's more of a problem of like later down the line when we get to like creating enemies based on like different level themes and stuff. But there are just things that we need to consider. Right. So pirate space zombie. It never occurred to me like jungle themed like jungle ice. Oh, futuristic as well. Like futuristic is one. However, I've like futuristic is one thing. There is a thing that I thought of. I don't know if many games have actually tapped into this aesthetic for like a level theme. Like, there's definitely games that have just used it as like an aesthetic for like the game as a whole, but probably not for like just a general level theme, like synthwave kind of stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever really seen it, so like, if I was to try and, like, do a thing like that, I feel like it would be very cool. So, I'm keeping that on the list of ideas. Now, just to note, Oh gosh, sorry about that, chat. Just to note, this isn't going to be like, oh, the definitive list of themes that was going to be used and all that jazz. Um, However, this is, for the most part, I'd say a list of potential ideas. A list of ideas that may be used, may not be used, may be cut or sort of ignored entirely and whatnot, but this will essentially just be a thing that I can also draw from, so... What did I call it in the Clip Studio folder? Right. Okay. So, I'm going to be honest, I'm feeling a little bit tired after today, so I'm going to call things a little early today. So to people who showed up and everyone watching things back, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow we are starting Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Level 1. That's going to be an interesting time. It's been a while since we finished Kingdom Hearts 2 level 1, so it'll probably take me a little bit to get back into the swing of things. But it's gonna be an interesting and fun time. We're gonna have fun with it. But yeah, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And as always, I will